everybody, and welcome back to the Bay Bolts channel for another episode of Quick Strike. I've lost my voice because I was at Amalie Arena as the Tampa Bay Lightning take game two by a score of 4-2 and even up this series. As always, my name is Jake Ricker, alongside my good friend and co-host Michael Wax. How you feeling after that Lightning win?
Oh, I'm feeling great. Let's get into the big story of the day, Jake, which was not any of the goals that were scored. It wasn't any of the saves that were made. It was the officiating once again. And uh, there were some bad calls today. Let's not mince words here. The Braden Point incident where he gets shoved into Simeon Varlamov by Adam Pelech, or maybe it was Ryan Pollock, that really does not matter to me. They're both really the same guy. They're both a very good defenseman with the last name of P. That was, I think, an incorrect call. You can ask Braden after the game. He'll say it's a judgment call at the time, but you could see during his reaction that he thought it was not a penalty. And a lot of people thought it was not a penalty because what is Braden Point supposed to do in that scenario? The second Lightning goal, there were 7 men on the ice. There's no really disputing that. Did these people have something to do with the play? Not really. There were only 3 people in the offensive zone, but there were 7 people on the ice. That's too many men. I'm just gonna throw that out there. That is a too many men on the ice penalty. The fourth goal, or actually the second goal for the Islanders, too many men on the ice. No call on that one either. The play after the final horn, where Anthony Cirelli gets taken to the ground by Travis Sajak and punched in the face, was given a roughing penalty. What does that do? What does that do? It does nothing. These penalties should be used as incentives to not do these things again. When you give a penalty at the end of the game to Cirelli, to Goudreau, and to Zajac, that does nothing to de-incentivize them to do that next game. These officials were horrible. And the fact that I mentioned last game, which again, I want to preface this by saying the Lightning lost game one. I tried not to complain about officiating, but I brought up the officials that were officiating round 3. They won game 2. I'm saying they're even worse in this game. The fact that I know these people's names is disgusting. And there's a reason that officiating has been so bad for so long. It's because these officials get away with it every single time.
Right, and we won. We won the game, so obviously we,
Yeah.
it's bad when we're complaining about it and we still won the game. But you're right. This is a problem when you look at this from an NHL perspective. And I was looking at Twitter, when this happened and a little bit after as well. Every fan base knew how bad these officials were. It's not just Lightning and Islanders fans that are complaining about just their calls. It's a problem for the NHL because when people come in to watch this and they see that, they don't want to continue watching the sport. And when this is supposed to be the quote unquote best you have to offer, now there is one other officiating crew, so technically the Stanley Cup Finals would be the best you have to offer, but this is round 3. You cannot have these kind of officials. This is the second time too, Michael, that there has been both happened to be with the Lightning, but a breakaway where a player was pushed into a goaltender and the player carrying the puck that got pushed is the one that got the penalty. It's baffling to me. You can 99% of people will tell you that how is that a penalty? What are you supposed to do when coming down the ice at high speeds and getting pushed into the goaltender? And it hurts an Islanders player too.
It's the second time it's happened to the Lightning. It's the second time that they've had the same officiating crew call this.
That's right.
The same crew. I don't understand it. It's not a judgment call. And again, the Lightning got away with something in this game. They've gotten away with plenty. The Islanders have gotten away with plenty. The Chernak penalty, what? They called slashing? Like he touched him. He barely he tapped him with his shoulder and they called it a slashing penalty. I don't get it. It just makes no sense to me. And really don't want to take away from the Lightning's performance in this game. I thought they were fantastic. I thought the Islanders, for the most part, played a decent game. Like, this should be a story about how this best of seven has now turned into a best of five, and the Islanders have home ice advantage for the rest of this if the Lightning decide not to win a road game, which I don't think will happen, but we'll see how the games play out. Unfortunately, we have taken away from the game because the people that have decided to make the show about themselves are the people in black and white.
Yeah, it's a problem. It is a problem. But as we mentioned, the Lightning did win the game. They did play a very good game, which is always good to see. But let's talk about the game because that's what I'm sure a lot of people here for us to break down the game. But there's our little rant on officiating. But getting into the game, starting with the first period, Lightning got off to a fantastic start. I think it was a much better start than it was in game number one. And it's none other than Braden Point that starts the scoring off. Braden Point is now on a 5-goal scoring streak right now. He's had in his last 5 games a goal in each of them, and I think almost all of them were also the first goal of the game as well. So just so impressive by Braden Point. He put a puck into the back of the net. It was a quick snipe, a great pass from Nikita Kucherov, and it almost looked like it didn't went in. Some of the fans knew it went in. They were really excited, and the referee was right there, said it went in the net. And the Lightning are up 1-0 early. And on this play as well, Michael, David Savard gets his first point as a Bolt, which is really good to see. David Savard, who came over for us in the trade this year, it's taken some time for him to get used to our system and the way we play here in Tampa. He's been getting better and better as the season has gone on, and he gets a well-deserved point right here. Now, as this game goes on, then we have the Islanders power play after the Braden Point situation where, let me tell you, I was in the building. Fans were not happy. I'm sure you could hear it on the broadcast as well. But then Brock Nelson ties this game at 1. So you go into the end of the first period tied at 1, but you have to be happy as a Lightning fan because the Lightning completely, I think, outplayed the Islanders and played very, very well in that period. And the only reason it was a tied 1-1 game was, well, let's be frank, because of that penalty.
Because of that penalty, and also because I thought Simeon Varlama was really, really good overall. Like, that pass from Nikita Kucherov to Braden Point, nobody saw that coming. And the fact that Varlamov almost got it, it ended up going it was bank shot basically off of Varlamov, off the camera and out of the net. That is some serious world class skill by Braden Point. And I did mention during one of these games on, I think it was either on Twitter or on the YouTube videos. We do so much on this channel, but I do think that if the Lightning win this series, Braden Point, no matter what the outcome of the next series would be, would beat his goal record set last year because he's already at 9, and he's been crazy. Like, he's been really, really good. um Very happy to see Savard get an assist on that goal. Good for him. Keeping that puck in the zone was what caused the Islanders to sort of scramble around after their turnover. And then the penalty, I guess you could say, uh, wrong place, wrong time. If penalty's not called, then it doesn't happen. I don't want to be that guy to say, oh, the Lightning are going to be perfect and they're going to play the entire 20 minutes the right way. They were
Right.
bailed out by Vasilevsky on several occasions. So there's a good chance that the Islanders tie this game up at 5-on-5. There was a good chance that the Islanders maybe take the lead if that penalty isn't called. But ultimately, the penalty was called. The Islanders scored on it. And I think it really flipped a switch for the Lightning because I was very shocked at the end of the period to see that they had 17 shots on net, which is a lot.
Right. It's like I always say, no matter how bad the officiating is, good teams find ways to win. They make adjustments and get the job done at the end of the day. So 1-1 game, though, going into the first. I should mention, too, Varlamov was injured on the Braden Point collision. We later found out that he was going to be going back into the net. He was fine, but the NHL called down, and for concussion protocol, Varlamov had to go into the locker room. He would return in the second period, so good to see that he is okay. You never want to see a player hurt, but also with the backup cylinder coming in for the Islanders, This means the Lightning have now faced 7 different goaltenders in 3 rounds, which is just a crazy number to me, Michael. Three goalies in the first round from the Florida Panthers, 2 different ones against Carolina, and now 2 goaltenders again here against the New York Islanders. So pretty crazy stat there. But we go into the second period, tied at 1. It's a close game, but Lightning are playing very well, and I thought the Lightning continued that into the second period. They kept playing really well. Now this is where the 7 men on the ice takes place. A lot of fans will say, well, the hockey gods kind of even this one up. So now we're even on these goals. As Nikita Kucherov does some wizardry down in the offensive zone, he's able to buy some time, finds Palat, who's wide open in the slot, and Palat nets one for his third of the playoffs. And the Lightning lead it 2-1 now in the second period. And that's how it would end as we go to the third with the Lightning up 2-1. But another good period from the Bolts. And then again, Vasilevsky and Varlamov, both guys making some top tier saves. But the Lightning again playing very well.
Yeah, so I want to do a correction on the point thing. It's actually his 10th goal, which means he's even closer to breaking his record that he set last year. But I think this goal is emblematic of the bigger problem that was surrounding the Lightning uh, in a good way in the first 2 rounds in one game. You got a lot of guys that are pulling the wagon on this team. Braden Point. I think that Nikita Kucherov has played well despite some of the penalties he's taken. Steven Stamkos has gotten a lot of goals. Alex Killorn is playing out of his mind. Eric Chernak has taken a step forward. But a couple guys have struggled a lot. Like Yanni Gord, he's played with that same tenacity, but the puck's not going in the net. And Andre Palat, he's playing okay, but that puck's not going in the net. And Victor Hedman, you could tell he's playing injured because he turned the puck over, and he scored 10 goals in the playoffs last year, and the puck is not going in the net. And we'll see later that the puck eventually did go in the net. But this play is emblematic of what the Lightning could be when all of their wheels are turning. Victor Hedman, a great outlet pass to Nikita Kucherov. Kucherov has the awareness to wait a little bit, make sure that he's got reinforcements, and then Palat finally getting the puck in the back of the net after scoring 11 goals in, I believe it was 17 or 18 games in the final 3 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. He's currently got 3 in 13 games. So he does need to pick it up a little bit. This is definitely a good head start for him to pick it up. It really seems like every single playoffs when he scores one, he starts to get going. So this would be the perfect opportunity for him to really put himself as the closer third member of that line, not so distant as he's been overall.
And guys go through streaks and droughts. It's completely normal. And hopefully these goals will spark those guys and get them going. Not only is it big for the game as well, but for their confidence. So really good to see Palat get that goal. It was a great shot by him as well. But going into the third period, it's 2-1. It's 2-1 hockey game. And it's a very close game, and it's anybody's game right now. The Islanders could very easily come back and steal this one, but things quickly open up in the third period. Now, there were a lot of penalties as well in this third period. The Lightning power play only had one successful attempt. They were 1 for 5, I believe, at the end of the day. And so not fantastic, but they had a lot of good opportunities on a lot of these power plays. But let's get into the goals in this period. So the first player to score, it's Jan Ruda, the first defenseman for the Lightning to score this postseason, which is a crazy number to think about because they had so many defensemen scoring postseason goals in the postseason last year. But Jan Ruda with a beautiful shot from the point, puts one in the back of the net, and the Lightning now lead it 3-1. And then the defenseman kept on rolling because, as you mentioned, Victor Hedman would get his first of the postseason. And now the Lightning lead this 4-1. So Lightning really started to go at it. They really kind of they played really well in both periods, but they played even better in the third. I thought this was their best period by far. Hedman's was also a power play goal, I should mention as well. So the power play unit finally gets one in the back of the net after having so many good opportunities. And that's credit to Varlamov, who played, again, very, very well today and made a lot of good saves. He had a really good save on Anthony Cirelli as well. I think Cirelli kind of hit the post, but Varlamov was able to keep him too far to the outside there. The Islanders do eventually get one back and make it 4-2 as Matthew Barzell is able to put one in the back of the net. The Islanders would then pull Varlamov with one last opportunity to try and tie this game. They cannot, though, and the Tampa Bay Lightning have even the series at one as they win this one by a final score of 4-2. So great third period by the Lightning, Michael.
A fantastic third period. And even though they did get outshot 9-8 in the third period, I would attribute that more to score effects because the Islanders at one point in the game were down 4-1. They really tried to push in those last couple of minutes, and they did end up getting one, but unfortunately for them, it was too far. I will say this now. I do not like Matt Barzell simply because of the coverage that he gets on NBC. But he's a tremendous player, and the Lightning have to be keen to when he's on the ice, and they weren't. But unfortunately for the Lightning, that was the only blemish in their third period. Really, uh, face-offs in the third period much better. It really got them to close to 50% over the game, which is something that we harped on last game when they were under 40%. Uh, that was probably the main reason they lost the game, besides the turnovers. And they were able to maintain puck position. And that's how they won this game. The offensive uh, cycle game between Goudreau and Sorelli, or Goudreau and Coleman, getting it to Jan Ruda, who had a fantastic shot. Just it's don't know if it hit somebody, but honestly, who really cares for Jan Ruda? That's his first goal in 72 games. And Jake, I called that goal, so I'm very happy that I predicted that goal. But
Yes, you
uh,
did.
yeah, the Victor Hedman one, really good to see them get on the board on the power play in this game, especially with all the calls and no calls for both teams. It really felt like a wash because both teams scored once on the power play. You take that away, it's a 3-1 Lightning win. So really solid game from the Lightning. And this is exactly what you have to do when you're playing the Islanders is you have to be aggressive, you have to get that first goal, and you have to dictate play in the offensive zone. And the Lightning did that for the most part because they held the Islanders under 25 shots while getting 30 plus shots. Most of the time for the Lightning, they're going to win that game.
And as John Cooper would say, the Lightning followed the recipe today, and it worked out very well for them. So 1-1 series now. The next game will be on Thursday night. That's tomorrow night. Every game is back every other day now. Here in round number three. However, these games are going to be played away from home now, as we're headed to New York, as the Islanders will be the home team for the next two games. So for the Lightning right now, their goal is obviously they would love to win both of these road games, but that's going to be tough to do. But if they can win at least one, keep the series at 2-2 and bring it back to Tampa, things are looking pretty good for the Lightning. So we will have a game five. Now the Lightning have won this game. Also, I do want to say, I know a lot of people are going to say, most Islanders fans that, oh, it's going to be real loud now. Let me tell you something. I was at the game. It was loud at Amalie Arena. It was rocking tonight. It was great to see. It was an amazing playoff atmosphere. It was pretty close to a sellout as well, Michael. Lightning have still not gone full capacity, but they have continued to release tickets every day, basically more and more. And it was pretty close. To full capacity, which is really, really awesome to see. Hopefully, we will be there very, very soon. But next game is against the Islanders tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So make sure you guys follow us at Bay_Bolts for all of your live game coverage. Michael, anything else to add before we wrap up this video?
Yeah, again, I don't want to sound like I'm just the complaining guy, but the fact that games 3 and 4 between the reigning Stanley Cup champions and the New York Islanders, who again have the one of the loudest buildings in the NHL, and a rematch of the 2020 Eastern Conference Finals is being put on the USA Network, which is NBC's third network, is laughable. I really think the Islanders deserve better than this. I think the Lightning deserve better than this. You have one game per day because the Vegas Golden Knights and the Montreal Canadiens are playing on different days. It's laughable that the NHL or the NBC refuses to put them on the main network and even the secondary network. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Hey, this is it. Last postseason, and then we're moving on to two completely new uh, TV deals. That's all I
That
can say. That's the good
fair.
news here. Is we're gonna have ESPN very soon. NBC is gonna be done, so don't worry, it's almost over with. But hey, let's just win it for the Bolts, and we can take hopefully a 3-1 series lead, or even a 2-2. I'll take it. Let us know in the comments down below any thoughts you might have had on this game. Any comments are always appreciated. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy this. It really helps us out here on YouTube and lets us know that you're enjoying these videos. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. Hopefully, I'll have my voice back by the next time we record. But remember, your Tampa Bay Lightning are your defending Stanley Cup champions. Have a great day, everybody.
Go Bolts.